Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is my third year in front of you with this bill. It's a pretty important bill to me personally, and what it is it's a anonymous two-way texting program that we're asking to be put in the schools for the boards of education. This bill will require each county board of education to establish an anonymous two-way messaging tip program. Establishing the purpose of the program, requiring each county board of ed to publicize the program, locations and venues, requiring the completion of a victim bullying, harassment, or intimidation report form and provisions of certain transcript, certain thing. In essence, we're asking for the state to help us out with the schools as far as some major issues we have in the schools. Queen Anne's County was the leader in this bill. A few years back, we installed this system in the county, and it's given us we've reaped many benefits from it. What I've done is I brought two people today. One is Alvin Butler. Alvin Butler is I guess the owner of this system and the person who's responsible for what it does and how it does it. And then when I put this bill out to the world and it got online, a young man by the name of Liam Kim picked it up in Montgomery County, and with his school system and his legislative board that they work on, they picked this bill as something they would like to support. And at this time, I'd like to maybe turn it over to Alvin Butler to give you a little idea on what the bill does and what the project is. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Thank you. My name is Alvin Butler, and I've submitted written testimony, so I'll just kind of give you a brief overview of it. I'm the president of Text to Them and also the executive director of a nonprofit called Text to Stop It. We approached Queen Anne's County back in 2013 about using this technology that allows two-way text communication to be used as an anti-bullying program. At that time, Delegate Arentz was president of the council, and they funded it, they approved it, and we are now celebrating our 4th year of this technology in Queen Anne's County. The way the technology works is that any student can text a keyword and a phone number, and on the other end there's a live person that they're engaged with, get all the information, perpetrators, whatever the case may be. And it was designed as a bullying program, but what happened is that we started getting text about drug situations, suicide situations. In fact, to date we've intervened in 7 suicide situations, one being a suicide pact. The other thing is that we've been able to expose drug dealers in half of the schools in which we're in Queen Anne's County. And I have to say that Queen Anne's County is considered a great school district. And so this has been a very effective tool to use, because this is the way kids communicate now. And so using this technology, we find that it's kids will open up to us and really start communicating. Currently, the bullying and harassment legislation calls for you to go to a website, enter the kid has to enter their name, provide information. This is the process. In other words, it's not anonymous. This is anonymous. The fear that the kids have is that being accused of snitching and things like that. So it's a very effective program. Let me just close by saying that we know for a fact that this program has saved lives in Queen Anne's County. We know it will save many more lives if implemented statewide. Students, parents, school administrators want and need the program, and we urge you to provide the resources to make it happen. In closing, I'd like to quote Brad Engel, the head of student services in Queen Anne's County, who told ABC2 News, and I quote, "Since we implemented this program, we have stopped a number of incidences of bullying and perhaps saved lives. How much is that worth?" End quote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kim.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the House Ways and Means Committee. My name is Liam Kim, and I'm a student in the Montgomery County Public School System. A mere 10 years ago, the first iPhone came out. But today, everyone essentially has some form of smartphone on them. They've become integrated into our culture and our very way of life. So why should the education not advance with it? Why should we trust the safety of our students to old and antiquated technology? Suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death in teenagers. It's been estimated that for every completed suicide, at least 25 other attempts have been made. When asked why they tried to kill themselves, a lot of us cite bullying and harassment. Our constant degradation leads us to honestly believe that no one wants us and that we are useless in life. Many students I know lacked the means to report the bullying that they experienced, or thought that had they reported it, the bully would find out and it would only get worse. and that's not a risk that we were willing to take. All school systems were mandated to create and use the bullying and harassment form. This form was long, intimidating, and had to be submitted directly to a school's principal. Even worse, there were many students who didn't even know it exists. I know for the school that I go to, Wheaton High School, Montgomery County, no one knew about it until it was passed out with our class schedules earlier this year. We need a solution to help solve this that doesn't require such a search for such an elusive form. Our educational system places safety above all else. When our parents drop us off at school every day, they trust that the school will keep us safe. However, as long as bullies go unchecked, our school systems will never be safe. And while it may be impossible to stop all bullying, we have to do everything that we can to catch those who do. And to best do this, I believe we have to take this 21st century approach to this issue. Pretty much everyone I know has one of these in their pocket. This device can send and receive messages instantly, present news as it happens, and even stream live footage to millions of people. If we can use this tool to do so much, then why can't we also use it to report bullying? The bill before you today would do just that. It would give so many students the ability to report bullying immediately. It would give them an instantaneous lifeline to end their suffering, one that is always available and doesn't rely on giving someone a paper form. And I understand that the cost for this bill is rather high, but I believe that it's a cost that must be paid. Already in Queen Anne County, as you've heard, 7 students have been saved because of this tip line. And that's in just one county. Imagine how many other students, how many other lives that we can save simply by making this program a statewide program. I believe that this is the way to guarantee a better future, and I thank you all for your time and urge you to vote in favor of House Bill 669. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Very excellent testimony. Any questions for Delegate Arentz or this panel? If not, thank you.
Madam Chair, could I say one more thing?
Of course.
I think one of the impetuses for this bill being pushed again this year so hard was if you look at the efforts being pushed by the governor and our people right now as far as the opioid crisis we have, this is just another vehicle that can help eliminate some of that. We're focusing so heavy on the end result of opioid abuse, and we're not focusing enough to stop it. And something like this that's being pushed out there where the kids have the opportunity to report it in the schools and catch it before it becomes a real issue, that's part of this system, and I think that's something we would benefit us greatly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Delegate Walker.
That's for walking a little bit late, Delegate Arentz. Just to make sure I'm clear, so with this bill here, if a student gets bullied or harassed, they can text a number to a helpline, and the helpline can address it from there. That's all they're doing is giving notification of what occurred?
Correct, and it's instantaneous.
It's not just notification. It's going to be a two-way communication.
Okay, so
And a transcript of that conversation is then sent to the school administrator who's on file as handling that situation.
all right, and what about false alarms? A lot of times in terms of, confrontations, it's my word, I saw things one way, you saw it this way. This wouldn't deter away from school time activities or other duties that the responsible party would have to engage in. What would be the repercussions for a false alarm or mediation? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
Let me address the false alarms.
Okay.
When you start asking students for witnesses and names and things of that nature, all of a sudden they will disappear on the other end. So there's your false alarm that you start asking questions and they disappear. We have had 2 false alarm situations that did go through to the school. School knew right away it was a false alarm, contacted us, and at that point we will provide the information regarding the student. We have the phone number. We know who the student is. We just don't provide that unless it is a false alarm, and that's explained to the students when it's implemented.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from any other members? Delegate Lutke.
Just a quick question. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I may have missed it. Are there multiple companies that provide this kind of service, or is it?
No, this technology is patented. Texas A&M received the patent on this in February of this year. It's the only technology that allows a person with a cell phone to initiate a 2-way conversation with a company, with an organization. That's patented.
So these would be sole source contracts?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me, if I may, we're also listed on your current state contract, so it can just be ordered.
Delegate Walker.
Up to what Delegate Lukey said. So I was assuming from the fiscal note it says there probably would not be a local impact, but this would be a cost. We'd have the state or the school system would have to order this technology from your company,
Correct.
and that's the $1.25 to $1.75 per student.
$125.
And how many school systems currently utilize their technology at all?
As I mentioned, Queen Anne's County has been using for 4 years. Talbot County just started this fall, and Prince George's County has been piloting it